Alright everybody, I'm back here with part 2 looking at the college bowl games. We just rounded out the, I guess you can call them the mid-card bowl games. The mid-card, the opening card, or the low to mid-card bowl games. And now we're going to head into what is known as the main event, the meat, if you will, of the bowl games. The meat of the bowl games, if you will. And that is on January 2nd, seeing as though New Year's Day is going to be January 1st. And traditionally, anytime New Year's Day falls on a Sunday, they can't have any of the bowl games until the next day, because Sunday is usually reserved for the NFL. Now, the post-New Year's Day games that will kick us off on January 2nd, the post-New Year's Day games that will kick us off on January 2nd, at 9 a.m. Pacific time on ESPNU, it'll be the Ticket City Bowl, second ever Ticket City Bowl. It'll be Houston and Penn State. So Houston, as a constellation prize, at least gets to compete in a New Year's Day Bowl, or semi-post New Year's Day Bowl. Well, we'll just call it New Year's Day Bowl, because that's what people are used to calling these things. Against Penn State, and a lot of people still feel Penn State, with what's happened this year, should have at least forfeited the bowl invitations, but that did not happen. Instead, Penn State accepted, and they will go to the Ticket City Bowl against Houston on January 2nd. And then at 10 a.m. Pacific time on ABC, 10 a.m. Pacific time on ABC, it'll be the Outback Bowl, Michigan State and Georgia. Everybody's saying that's going to be a good one, and I think it will be. Then also at 10 a.m. on ESPN will be the Capital One Bowl. Nebraska, in its first year as a Big Ten school and a Big Ten representative, will represent the Big Ten in the Capital One Bowl against South Carolina. South Carolina also had a BCS eligible record, but did not get any invitation. So instead, they will go up against first-year Big Ten representative Nebraska in the Capital One Bowl. And then in the Gator Bowl, it'll be Ohio State and Florida. Everybody's talking about this one, and this is also going to be at 10 o'clock Pacific time on ESPN2. Everybody's talking about this one because it's supposed to be Urban Meyer's first, I think, game as the Ohio State head coach, and he goes against his former team, the Florida Gators. So the Gator Bowl, Ohio State and Florida at 10 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN2. So basically, you're going to have 4 games to start your day off with on January 2nd, if you will. And then at 2 a.m., oh, not 2 a.m., what am I talking about? 2 p.m., I should say, 2 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN, which I think should still be ABC, but what do I know? But at 2 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN, it'll be the Rose Bowl, Wisconsin and Oregon. Second year in a row that Wisconsin's gone to the Rose Bowl. Oregon's their second time. And hopefully, as everybody's saying, they should be able to win this one. But we'll see what happens. But Wisconsin obviously is going to want to get revenge for losing to TCU last year. So it'll be Wisconsin and Oregon in the Rose Bowl at 2 p.m. Pacific time on January 2nd on ESPN. And then following that, also on ESPN, at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time will be the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, one I plan to record. Yes, I do plan to record it. It'll be Stanford and Oklahoma State. Stanford's second trip to a BCS game. This time it's the Fiesta Bowl. Oklahoma State's first shot at it as well. So it'll be Oklahoma State and Stanford at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN on January 2nd. Then on January 3rd, also at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN will be the Sugar Bowl. It'll be Michigan and Virginia Tech. That's right, Virginia Tech surprisingly is going to get in and get a BCS bid. Michigan's also in, so Michigan and Virginia Tech. Some people may not like this, but according to what they said on the bowl selection and BCS selection specials last night, it's about name recognition, name brand recognition. There you go. So Michigan and Virginia Tech will meet in the Sugar Bowl on January 3rd on ESPN at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And then on January 4th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time in the Orange Bowl, it'll be West Virginia and Clemson. Clemson and West Virginia meeting in the Orange Bowl on January 4th on ESPN at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And then in the Cotton Bowl on January 6th, 2 days later at 5 p.m. Pacific Time on Fox. That's why Fox gets one of the last bowl games of the year. It'll be Kansas State and Arkansas. Now Kansas State, many might feel should have been in Virginia Tech's spot. That did not happen. Instead, they will face off against Arkansas in the Cotton Bowl on January 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific Time on Fox. And then the next day at, I'm trying to make sure here, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, it'll be the Compass Bowl, the BBVA Compass Bowl on ESPN. SMU and Pitt. It'll be Pitt's second shot there, SMU's first. Not first bowl game, but the first visit to the Compass Bowl, SMU and Pitt at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on January 2nd, if you will, on ESPN. And that's at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on ESPN, SMU and Pitt. And then the GoDaddy.com Bowl, which will take place on January 8th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time on ESPN. It'll be Arkansas State and Northern Illinois. That's right, the GoDaddy.com Bowl, Arkansas State and Northern Illinois will meet on January 8th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time on ESPN. And then, of course, also on ESPN, rounding out the bowl season on January 9th, the very controversial and probably at times makes controversial and in the eyes of some sensible national championship at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. LSU and Alabama will round it out. So that is your bowl schedule for the upcoming bowl season, starting on December 17th and ending on January 9th. Now I know a lot of people may not like some of the matches they have heard, but that's the way things go. Some may not like the fact that UCLA with the losing records in a bowl game. Some may not like the fact that Virginia Tech, who lost the conference games in a BCS game. And most importantly, some may not like the fact that we have two SEC teams from the same division in the same conference facing each other for the title. So, but that's the way the ball rolls, and that's the way the eggs, and that's the way the cards are dealt. So we just got to deal with it until they come up with that, until they add something to the system like the one I mentioned in part 1 of this bowl schedule video, and that's something like a drop 5 stipulation or something. That's the only way they're going to fix it, folks. So hope you enjoyed this 2-part video. Comment down below if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.